So I did a video all about how to store your grains properly, and I still get a million questions about it. So in this video, I'm actually going to be diving in to 3 of the biggest myths when it comes to storing your grains. You know I love some myth busting, y'all, and we're going to be doing that today. Hey everyone, welcome back to Grains and Grit. My name is Felicia, and if you're new here, welcome. Been here before, welcome back. So I've got a lot of life things going on right now, so this video is going to be much shorter than it usually is because that's just the stage of life I'm in right now. But we're going to be addressing 3 big time myths when it comes to storing your grains. Now, first and foremost, if you want a deep dive into how to store my grains, then definitely check out that first video I did all about how I store my grains. So that will be in the description box below. So let's just go ahead and dive in. The first myth that I hear a lot about is freezing grains. I get this question so many times. Do you have to freeze grains? I hear people say that they purchase grains and they were told to freeze them. All the things about freezing the grains. And the answer is yes and no. Your wheat berries, your oat groats, beans, things like that, I never freeze. I just get them and I dump them in a bucket like this. And I'm actually out here in my shed that is in the state of Florida. It is hot. It is humid. We get really high temperatures and humidity out here. And this is not a temperature controlled shed. That's it. And I store them in these buckets and I do not freeze my grains, and they are just fine. I have been doing this for 11 years. I have even had to store my grains outside. So trust me, if it can survive here in Florida, it can survive. So no, I do not freeze my grains. Now I do recommend freezing your corn and your rice for about 24 to 48 hours before then just dumping them into the buckets and storing them with your good lids. So that's the biggest thing is people freak out. Do I need to freeze grains? No, except corn and rice, I do recommend freezing. The second myth, kind of 2 things that go together, is how you have to have Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers in order to store your grains for long term. No, you do not have to have Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. Now, I did talk about freezing your grains. If you do not want to do that, putting in an oxygen absorber into your corn and rice pretty much does the same thing. So if you already have some corn and rice that are in buckets and you want to stick an oxygen absorber in there, that's fine. Same thing with Mylar bags. If you want to use them, they're not going to hurt them. I mean, it's not going to hurt your grains, but the bottom line is you do not need Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers to store your grains. You just need a good container with a good lid to keep pest and moisture out. Remember, people have been storing grains for thousands of years without refrigerators, without, the Mylar bags and the oxygen absorbers, things like that. Now, again, it's not going to hurt them. And there are food items that you certainly do need Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers for to keep them fresh longer, but those items are not your grains. And by the way, if you are looking for Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers because you want to use them, or you have other items like coffee beans that you do need to use them for long-term storage, I highly recommend checking out Wallaby goods, and I have a link for you guys below and a coupon code where you can save on your purchase as well. So be sure to check that out in the description box below if you are wanting Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. But again, it's not absolutely needed for grains. The third biggest myth that I see is that you have to store your grains in a temperature-controlled environment. Kind of already touched this. No, you do not. Again, I am storing these out in a non-insulated, not a temperature-controlled shed in the state of Florida. I mean, you can probably see it on my face. We got humidity going like sky high through the roof. It gets really hot here. And so no, I do not have problems storing it in a non-temperature controlled environment. I've even had an outdoor kitchen before where I had to store my grains in buckets like this with gamma lids. So they were outside. They were not actually they were covered, but not, where if it rained really hard, some rain would even get on the buckets. And I never had a problem with my grains. So you definitely do not need a temperature controlled place to store your grains. That's why I say grains are the best thing to store, because unlike your canned goods, things like that do need to be temperature controlled, your grains do not. So again, y'all, remember, people have been doing this for thousands of years. Remember the story of Joseph in the Bible and in ancient Egypt, and they stored grains. They stored them up for 7 years to get them through 7 years of famine. There was no refrigeration, nothing like that. I do understand it's a drier climate than Florida, but still, people have been doing this just fine for thousands of years. That's the beauty of grains. And when people are telling you that you need to freeze or you need the Mylar bags or the oxygen absorbers, those type of things, first of all, ask yourself, are they selling something? It may be the grains that they're selling. And a theory of mine that I have is where, they may be telling you to store it this way or to freeze them or whatever, so as a disclaimer, so they don't get sued. That is a gut feeling, by the way. I have not verified that. But just like whenever I say I'm not a medical doctor, blah, 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 same thing. So I do think they do that for a precaution. But again, a lot of this is not needed. Remember, I've been milling my own grains, storing wheat for 11 years now. Sue Becker also talks about that all you need for grains is a bucket and a lid, and she's been doing this way longer than I have. And so that's the beauty of grains, y'all. I hope this is helpful for you to kind of clear that up. Be sure to check out that other video where I go full-fledged on how I store my grains, my beans, all the things. So again, that will be linked below for you. For those, again, who are wanting those Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, check out Wallaby Goods. Link and coupon code for you down below. As always, I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!